Good morning, everybody. It's Aloha from Hawaii time again for me. I've just got out a few days ago to the big island of Hawaii for our Huna intensive, and I haven't really had time to get set up with all my camera equipment, tripods and all those kind of things. So this is an early start because it's 7 p.m. GMT for Facebook Live, which is 9 a.m. here in Hawaii, because we're 10 hours time difference. So I needed to get this recorded because we're still not sure about the internet connections yet. And so what I thought I'd record from the beach. So here's just to give you an idea about the kind of place we are. That's the Pacific Ocean there behind me. And we're just before sunrise here. So sunrise is over in this direction. That's the hotel, the resort that we're at. The sun will be rising over there. In the next few minutes, I don't know if this camera, the forward-facing camera, is going to work. I always swore that I would never buy a selfie stick. And then this morning is the one morning that I find that I actually need one. So apologies for the bit shaky quality of the image. I'm going to see if I can. Now you can't turn the camera around in this iPhone halfway through a video, so I can't do another shot for you. So yeah, we've just to give you a little bit of information about our Huna training since I'm here. There are 4 levels in the Huna training, and level 4 started yesterday. Level 3 starts on Friday evening, and then level 1 and 2 starts on Saturday morning. And we've got a really big Huna intensive. We've got over 100 people coming out here for March, including some of my students from Europe, from the UK, and from the Netherlands. So I'm looking forward to seeing them on Saturday as they come out to Huna for the first time. And yesterday I got to quite a treat, really, because I wasn't teaching yesterday. I got to be a student as my friend Matt James was teaching. And one of the things that we have in our lineage is 36 symbols, which relate to 36 aspects of universal energy. And we were looking at how they relate to things that I've talked about in previous videos, the lesson of mastery and the lesson of life. And I've been getting some real kind of aha moments and moments of inspiration because I've been teaching that and came across it in the first time around about 25 years ago. And even now, sitting there, I was getting some real inspiration, some real connections, I guess, from things I've been teaching over the last 25 years, and how it relates to a number of other things. So, lesson of mastery very much is about how do you bring down the abundant purity, the huge amounts of infinite amount of spiritual energy in the universe, and bring it down into physical form. That would take a number of different aspects, really, but predominantly that would be around your business and career. You know, what you do for a living, how you create your financial abundance in your life, and also your physical well-being. You know, this physical body, the vehicle that you've got to go through life. Your relationships, sometimes that might be lesson of life or lesson of mastery, depending on the kind of relationship that you have. And there's one of my students was running past there, Tara. Hi, Tara. And then the lesson of life being around spirituality and personal development, and how those two journeys from the spiritual down into the physical, and then the physical back up into the spiritual again, actually work, and how these tie into these 36 symbols, so we can use them as a journey, which is one of the first times we've taught that at this Huna intensive. And so one of the real key things I think that comes up for a lot of people when they do things like Huna is around financial abundance and whether you can actually be financially abundant and also be working on your spirituality. And some real insights into that yesterday, in that, from the Huna perspective, and from one of our mentors, Kumus, from further back in our lineage, Uncle George Naopi, actually said to Matt that you couldn't be spiritual until you were successful, which is something I've heard a number of times in a number of places. Another one of my teachers, Stuart Wilde, used to say that becoming rich was a hands-on spiritual experience. So I love the way that Stuart used to put things, because there was never, I'm just reaching to the end of the beach, so I'm going to turn around and walk you back the other way. And also I'd heard, from the Taoist tradition, that if you went to a Taoist master to work on your spiritual development, then they wouldn't accept you until you completed what I've just been talking about, the lesson of mastery, which is that you were independently financially wealthy, you had a family, you had a partner, and you had all of that physical aspects of life dealt with, so that you had the support mechanisms in place so that you could really focus on your spirituality. And also, when I was teaching in Tel Aviv, I was told that if you wanted to learn the deeper teachings of the Kabbalah, then again you wouldn't be able to do that until you were in your 40s and had all of those physical aspects of life sorted. You were in good health and fitness. You had the financial abundance to support you for the rest of your life. You had a supporting and loving partner. You had a family. You've done all of that, so that then you could spend the lesson of life focusing on your personal development and spirituality. The big thing I think that came out for me today was that, when you talk about lesson of mastery and lesson of spirituality that way, they sound like a very linear thing. You spend the first half of your life doing the lesson of mastery, and the second half of your life doing the lesson of life. And the big thing really was that those aren't linear, they're a cyclical thing. So there's some points in time you'll be doing more lesson of mastery, some points in time you'll be doing more lessons of life. And so yesterday we really focused on the lesson of mastery, which I've talked about in some of my previous Facebook Lives. And for me, the realization was that in the symbols that we've got around teaching us how to do the lesson of mastery, totally in alignment with what I've been teaching for probably the last 10 or 11 years under the guise of quantum success. And the fact that success isn't linear, and that in actual fact, one of the worst things you can have around achievement is having a plan for how you achieve your goals. And when I say that to groups, half the group go yay, and half the group go what? Because some people absolutely hold on to their plan for dear life, and some people absolutely bore them and hate them. Neither is really the right way, because to be able to achieve your goals without a detailed plan requires something else. It requires faith. It requires trust that once you've set a goal in the right way, then the path to achieve that goal will come and make itself obvious to you. But a lot of people don't like that. So that's a big learning for me, is how do you go about overcoming that need for that detailed plan to enable you to achieve your goals. And even though I've been learning this stuff and teaching this stuff for 25 years, I just love the fact that I can come out here and get some new realizations after all that time. So I think again, the financial abundance and spirituality is quite often a big thing for people. Now, if you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, I really wish that I could go and do develop myself spiritually and come out and do the Huna Intensive, come out to this wonderful place here that I am, but I can't afford it. How can I get myself out to Hawaii? How can I get myself out to Huna so that I can develop myself spiritually? Well, the first thing would be to set some financial goals, because you do need finances to get yourself out of here to do this and develop spiritually. I remember in my first days when I first started coming out here, I didn't have a lot of money, but I really wanted to do it. And I did everything that I could to get out here, to make the kind of money that I needed to be able to fly out to Hawaii and to be able to book on the trainings and stay in the hotels. And you know, Matt was reminding me that when I first started the Huna journey, I didn't make it out to all the Hunas. The Hunas every 6 months. Some of them I had to miss because I didn't quite hit my financial goals in those days. So if you want to come out here, what's the first step? You know, if you're in that position, I know some people are saying, right, I'm coming out in September, and that's just a logistics thing. Some of the people are saying, you know, I really, at some point in time, I've just been hit by the water. Some point in time, then I'm going to come out and do Huna. Some point in time never arrives in my experience. So if you want to come out here, and at this point in time you're not here in March because you can't afford it, then the very first thing that you can start right now to make it happen for September is to set some financial goals and start taking some action to make the kind of money that you need to come out here to learn Huna. Now I know some people are probably going to complain at me for saying those kind of things, but you know, it's a reality. It's one that I had to learn a long time ago. If I wanted to be able to come out to places like this to learn Huna and have all kinds of wonderful spiritual experiences and spiritual learnings, then what I needed to do was to start working on the lesson of mastery, not the lesson of life. It's the lesson of mastery that will get you out here. It's the lesson of life you'll start when you get out here. And you know, it was interesting that there was a lot of parallels between what Matt was talking about yesterday and what I'd learned from other places, like Dion Fortune, an esoteric writer who lived in London in the 1900s, said, before the ascent into spirit can begin, the descent into matter must be complete. I.e., before doing the lesson of life, complete the lesson of mastery. Again, I know what I've just said, that's very linear and it's not really that way. You'll be cycling through those things. Also, you know, Tony Robbins in Awaken the Giant Within says that the big mistake that a lot of people make is that they believe that they're a physical being here to have a spiritual experience, whereas in actual fact we're a physical being here to have a spiritual experience, whereas in actual fact we're a spiritual being here to have a physical experience. Before you came into the physical, you were spiritual, and when you come out of the physical, you'll be spiritual. So that's what it's about. It's about being this abundant spiritual being and being able to learn how to take that spiritual abundance and create it into physical abundance in whatever way is meaningful and works for you. So thanks for joining me. Sorry it's been a little bit wobbly, but at least you've got to walk along the beach with me whilst I've had some ability to share with you what we've been learning here on our Huna Intensive this week. So bye for now. You're just about to see Tara go running behind me again. There we go. I don't know how many times she's run up and down the beach. So bye. See you next Thursday when we'll be there with tripods and all of those kind of things. Hui ho, which means I'll see you again soon.